I have a really bad habit of requesting ARCs of books and never reading them before they're actually published. So in this vlog, I'm going to be attempting to read 5 books before they're published. And I'm starting this in April, and the next book that I have on this list isn't coming out till June, so I feel like I have plenty of time to actually do this video, but we shall see. But let's talk about the 5 books that I'm hoping to read in this video. The first one is The Last Time We Drowned by Saratoga Schaefer. This one comes out June 2nd, and I am so excited to have an early copy of this one. I recently read Tradwife by this author, and I did a whole vlog on this book, which I will have linked in the cards in the description below if you are interested in it. But that was my first 5-star read of 2026, so I am super excited to read something else by this author. And I believe this is some sort of like thriller, and I know it has to deal with queer characters, but I don't know a whole lot going into it. As a disclaimer, I don't know a lot about books before going into them, so I'm not going to be able to give you a synopsis of any of these books really until I actually start reading them. The next book I have on my list is Die For Me by Shirlene Obuobi, which comes out July 14th, and this one, the cover of it just looks so good. I did have this one on my most anticipated releases of this year, so I'm really excited to get to this one, but I believe it's like a paranormal romance. Plant Lady by Minyoung Kang comes out August 4th, and I believe this one has to do with a lady who works at a plant store and she helps her customers dispose of dead bodies. I Kissed Her First comes out August 25th, and this is a sapphic romance. And Milkteeth by Caitlin Starling comes out October 20th, which is another horror adjacent book. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think Die For Me and Milkteeth both might have something to do with vampires, but we'll see. Either way, those are the 5 books that I am hoping to read in this video. We will see how it goes. I have high hopes for all of these books. Obviously, I did request all of them, and I do just generally have high expectations for them, but I will update you guys once I have started one of these books. I have started Plant Lady, and I'm about 50% into it, so let me tell you guys what it's about. We are following this woman who ends up quitting her job and opening this plant shop, and everyone thinks that it's going to fail because it's in this not so great part of town. There's not a lot of foot traffic. She's not really doing any marketing for it, but her shop ends up blowing up on social media and she has a whole lot of business, and so her shop is doing really well, but she has this unfortunate thing of getting into these relationships where the guys are not so good, and because she's really attached to plants and these guys end up hurting these plants that she cares for a lot, she ends up getting rid of these guys and using them as fertilizer for her plant shop, and she ends up starting to help out other women who are in similar like abusive situations. And we also get the point of view of this detective. He has started to come into the story where he is investigating these disappearances of all of these men. And so that's pretty much what this book is about. I'm really enjoying it. It is a translated book, and I do feel like the translation of it is a bit stilted in the writing, but I'm still really enjoying it. I feel like it's written in such a simplistic way, but it also still has that tension of what's actually going to happen, how is the story actually going to build up. It is a shorter story. I want to say when I was looking on Storygraph, the page count is under 300 pages, so it is a shorter one. I didn't know that going into it, but like the plot's moving very fast. I'm very intrigued. And yeah, so I'm really enjoying this one so far, but I will let you know how I feel once I have finished it. Okay, it has been quite a few days. Actually, I think it's been about a week since I last updated you guys, and I did finish Plant Lady quite a while ago, but I never updated. I got super busy with finals in school, and thankfully I can say I'm finally done with that semester. I have about 2 weeks off before my summer classes start, but I'm only taking a couple of them, so my workload will not be as much, which I am super excited about. But let's talk about Plant Lady. So I ended up giving this book 4 stars. I think this is a really great book. If you are looking for a book that is all about women getting revenge on men who have wronged them, this is the book for you. It is only like 200 pages. It is really short, and that's the only reason why I didn't give it 5 stars. As with like most novellas and like short stories, they usually leave me wanting more from them, and that's kind of the feeling that I got from this one. Also, I will say if you are not a fan of open endings, this book is probably not going to be for you. I personally love a good open-ended book. I just love the idea of getting to make up my own ending and not necessarily having absolute closure in a story. But I know a lot of people don't like that, so I did just want to mention it. But overall, as like a thriller book, this is really great. And I love that like at about the halfway point, we do have the detective coming in and we get his point of view on the whole situation. And that definitely brings up the tension in this story. But overall, I thought this one was really great and I would highly recommend checking it out when it releases. But the next book that I'm going to be reading is I Kissed Her First. I'm kind of in a romance mood, so I figured I would pick this one up. All I know about it is that it's a sapphic romance and I'm really looking forward to it. Okay guys, I have started I Kissed Her First and I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm only 10% in, I believe. I just started chapter 4, but I'm really enjoying it so far. We are following our main characters, Riley and Leah. I believe that's their names. But Riley is an aspiring chef. She lives with her 2 dads and works at their seafood shack. And her dads have paid for her college and told her that the only condition is that once she finishes college, she doesn't pursue cooking. I haven't gotten to why that is or why they don't want her to be a chef, but those were the conditions that Riley agreed to. But she has this Instagram account where she is posting videos of her cooking and stuff, and she's pretty famous for that. And she ends up getting this job opportunity from one of her favorite singers, who is our other character, Leah. She is this up-and-coming pop star, and Riley has the opportunity to be her private chef while Leah is on her first world tour. And so Riley ends up taking this job opportunity, and this is her very last summer where she gets to be a chef, and she's super excited about it. But where I currently am, these 2 characters are next to each other on this very fancy airplane, and they are talking, getting to know each other as they are flying to Paris. And I think this book is just really cute so far. I love these 2 characters' dynamics. I'd really like to learn more about Leah as a character. Right now I feel like I don't know a whole lot about her besides that she really wants to be a very famous pop star. She is in a relationship with this guy just for publicity. And yeah, I'm really curious about her, but I will keep you guys updated on this one. Okay, I finished I Kissed Her First and I gave this one 4 stars. This one is such a cute summer read. This one was just so good. My only complaint about this one is towards the end with a little bit of that like 3rd act conflict, but overall I just really enjoyed this book. Such a cute sapphic romance. I loved it so much. I really appreciate both of these characters trying to figure out what they want from life, dealing with sort of their outside pressures. One of them is obviously in the spotlight and just has a lot of conflict with her public image and what people expect of her. And then our other character is someone who wants to be a chef but also has a lot of grief surrounding her sister who passed away, who also wanted to be a chef. And so she has a lot of conflicting feelings about what she wants to do with her life. And both these characters are dealing with grief in 2 very different ways, but them connecting over this is very much like the foundation of their relationship. And I love seeing them help each other work through it and just be there to comfort each other. I just thought it was so good. I also loved our very last ending scene. Obviously, I'm not going to spoil it, but I thought that was so cute. I do love a good grand gesture, and that was just such a good ending. But overall, I would just really recommend this book if you're looking for a cute sapphic romance that obviously has some heavier moments. It does deal a lot with grief, so be forewarned. But this one was just so good. Okay guys, I finished The Last Time We Drowned by Saratoga Schaefer, and I know, I never updated you guys about this, but I read it all in one sitting. I was going to talk to you guys after I had read a little bit, and then I kind of just read the entire book. So this one is by an author who I've read from before. I read Tradwife by this author, and I read that one in a previous reading vlog, which I'll have linked if you want to check it out. But that was a vlog where I was just mood reading books that I thought was going to be 5 stars. And Tradwife was a 5-star book. I absolutely loved it. And from finishing that book, I had really wanted to read this one. Obviously, I requested an ARC from NetGalley. But yeah, I ended up reading this book in one sitting. It has this author's like signature writing style. Like, I found it very similar to Tradwife in that sense. But the premise of this one is that our main character is a book influencer. She's like a bookstagrammer. She ends up getting this like job opportunity to work with a bunch of other influencers who have like different niches on this very fancy yacht. It's kind of like the content houses that we see like out in LA and stuff, but on a yacht. And they decided that our main character, her name's Charlie by the way, that because she is in a bit of a different niche, she's not like the lifestyle kind of niche, she's obviously a bookstagrammer, but she is also a queer woman, and she's not someone who like has same beauty standards that you would see from influencers. You know, she has a lot of tattoos and she just has more of a chill personality, and you know, they hired her specifically just because she was different and could bring a different vibe into this yacht. But our main character, she takes this job because she is very poor. She can't afford to pay her bills. And her best friend stole her book idea, and that book has blown up everywhere, and then she ends up dying. And so our main character is kind of running from her past. She's trying to make money. She's trying not to focus on the fact that her best friend stole her book idea. And I don't know, I just think the whole premise of this book was super cool, super interesting. But our main character, when she goes onto this yacht, there ends up being like this freak storm that ends up happening, and this book is basically like a locked room mystery in that all of these influencers are all stuck together on this yacht and someone ends up dying. And so yeah, this was just such an easy read. Like, I obviously read it in one sitting, but I was hooked throughout the whole thing. Like, I wanted to know what was going to happen. And personally, I do prefer to read horror rather than any mysteries and thrillers, and that is still the case with this book. I ended up giving it 3.5 stars. I just honestly find a lot of mysteries and thrillers very predictable, and that was the case for this one. I found it like very campy, very predictable, and like I wasn't really shocked by anything that happened while I was still like enjoying my read. Like, I wasn't shocked by anything. But I will say that most like mystery thriller books like this do tend to bore me, and I never really care about how it's going to end. And like this one, again, I was pretty interested in it. So yeah, a solid like 3.5 star rating. You know, I think it's like your average mystery book, but because I just love this author's writing, I found it a little more enjoyable than I probably would have. But yeah, a very solid book, and I'm very happy with how this video is going so far. We have 2 4 stars and then a 3.5 star. I don't know. I feel very good about this. There are 2 more books, and I think I'm gonna start Die With Me next. I believe that's the title. That one is a paranormal romance. I just feel like that is a good vibe after finishing a mystery book. But yeah, I think I'm going to read that one next. Okay, I have started Die For Me, and I want to give you guys a little update while I remembered, since I have read a couple chapters of it. So it is following our main character, Sean, and she is, I believe, a cardiologist. And this book starts off with her going to a wedding for one of her coworkers, who also happens to be her best friend's ex-husband. And while she is there, one of the groommen ends up catching her eye, and they basically have this moment at like the piano and stuff, but our main character knows that it's kind of wrong because he is a lot younger than her. I believe they have like a 10-year age gap, I believe. But so far, I'm really liking the writing style of it. I think it's really nice. I'm really interested to see how this book goes, where the paranormal element ends up coming in at. And yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. I've only read about like 8%, so I'm definitely not far into it, but I did want to give you guys that update. Guys, this vlog is going so well. I've had so many good books that I've read. I am absolutely amazed by that. I feel like every time I request ARCs, I always feel bad because they end up not working for me. And this time, Like all of them I've really enjoyed. So let's talk about Die For Me. I don't remember anything that I had said in the last clip, but Die For Me is one that I'm giving 4 stars. We are following our main character. Her name is Sean, and she's a doctor. I want to say she's like a cardiologist, or she works in that field, but she is a doctor. She is an older woman. She's very established in her life, and she ends up meeting this guy named Julian who is much younger than her. I want to say he's like 27, but these two end up getting into a relationship with each other, and this is a very spicy romance that they get into, and it's definitely a whirlwind. Both these characters have a bit of grief and some past trauma that they're both working through, and that's kind of one thing that really connects them. But this does take a turn. It is a paranormal romance, and as these two characters are in this relationship, these paranormal elements start to pop up, and that our main character starts to have symptoms. And I don't want to say any more than that because I don't want to spoil anything, but she starts to have symptoms that make her a bit worried. It makes her a bit curious, and she feels like she's going crazy because she starts having ideas that she doesn't believe are true. Again, it is paranormal romance. But when she does learn these secrets that Julian is keeping from her, this book takes a little bit of a turn into like a thriller, in that we have a lot of high stakes scenes in which people's lives are on the line. It definitely wasn't something that I was expecting. I was not expecting this book to be a high stakes book. I also wasn't expecting the romance to play out the way it does. There is an HEA, I will say that. I was very concerned that there actually wasn't going to be one, and this wasn't going to be like an actual romance, because that's what I thought this book was going into it. But it definitely took a turn I was not expecting, and I really like what it did. I'm usually not a thriller reader. I feel like thrillers have like a lot of secrets and mysteries that you have to work out, and that's just not my personal thing to read in books. However, this one, the thriller elements come after we learn the secrets, so I feel like that really worked for me. But this book was just so good. I would highly recommend it for people who read romance, horror, thriller, paranormal romances. I think this book has a little bit for everyone. It was just so good. I also like that we got a book with an older main character. I feel like we don't see that too often, so I'm really happy about that. And I think this book just had a lot of really good conversations about grief, about abusive relationships, and just like what it takes to live for yourself, not to live for other people. And I just thought those conversations were really great. We also get some conversations about misogyny and racism in the workplace. Our main character is, again, she's an older woman, but she's also a Black woman who is a doctor. She is very well known in her field, and she talks a lot about how people perceive her, how she always has to put on a front to be stronger than she actually is. We also get a lot of conversations talking about how when older men get into relationships with younger women, it seemed like they want a prize, but for our main character, she is the older woman with a younger man. People are looking down on her. They think she's taking advantage of this guy, and she's just very concerned about like the optics of that because people don't perceive it as positively. And a lot of her coworkers are men, older white men who do have relationships with younger women, and so I thought that was also a really good conversation in this book. This book just has a lot to do with these characters' ages, where they're at in life, and I love the way that played out with the paranormal aspect. I don't want to spoil what kind of creature this paranormal aspect has. I just don't want to spoil any of that because I think figuring that out is part of the story, and so I'm really glad that the synopsis of this book doesn't actually say anything. I will say that before going into this book, I did think that this was a vampire romance, and I think I just got that because the next book that I'm going to be reading for this blog is a vampire book, and so for some reason I just thought this one was as well. But yeah, the next book that I'll be reading is Milkteeth by Caitlin Starling, and I'm very cautious about this one. I feel like all the books I've read so far have been really good, and Caitlin Starling is an author I have very mixed opinions on. I don't actually know if when I introed the vlog if I talked about this or not, but she wrote one of my favorite books of all time, which is The Luminous Dead. I love this book so much. I thought it was just a fantastic horror book. It's so claustrophobic. It's just amazing. Highly recommend that one. But every book I have tried by this author since has just not worked for me. I've either rated them low or I've just DNF'd them. And so I'm very nervous about this one. So I have a lot of hope just because all the other books so far have been really good, but honestly, I don't really know. This could be the one that flops in this vlog. We'll see. Okay, I'm about 20% into Milkteeth, so let's talk about it. I can finally give you guys a little bit of a synopsis for this one. So we are following our main character, Beatrice, and she is a vampire, and she has the job of basically being a mother to the vampire fledglings. So basically, when there are fledgling vampires, or like people who just turned into vampires, they can't drink human blood. They have to drink the blood of other vampires. If they drink the blood of humans, they get sick, and I think they turn into ghouls is what they refer to them as, or they end up like starting to eat human flesh. And so our main character, Beatrice, she is in charge of these two vampire fledglings. I want to say one's an adult and one's a teenager, if I'm not mistaken, but basically Beatrice sort of breastfeeds them, but also doesn't. They're like vampires, so they like drink out of any part of her body. But that's very much what it's compared to. From like, I want to say chapter 2, we get Beatrice actually going to like a human like breastfeeding session where they help new mothers learn how to breastfeed and answer all their questions and stuff. So this book is very much comparing the two. And Beatrice ends up taking on a third fledgling, and this is one who accidentally, when they first turned, ended up eating human flesh. And so the process is a bit different. I don't want to get too into it, but she now has to take care of these 3 fledglings. And so far, this book is really good. I am really enjoying it. And this is one that I'm definitely not going to DNF. I know I was talking a little bit in the last clip about how I was a little hesitant because I have DNF'd a book by this author before, and I've disliked a couple of this author's other books, so I was very scared going into this one, but I'm actually really enjoying it. And I know I am still early, I'm only 20% of the way into it, but this one's really good. Like those very first few chapters, they were so gross and detailed in like the body horror aspects of it. And I love body horror. If I'm picking up a horror book, I want to be disgusted. I want to not be able to pick up the book because it's so gross. And that was the feeling I was having in those first few chapters. So I really liked it. And I'm really curious to see how the rest of this book goes. But I did want to give you guys that update that I think this one is definitely going to be up there. So far I'm feeling like a 4-star, but we will see how the rest of the book goes. Okay, I have finished Milkteeth, so let me tell you guys about it, and then we can go ahead and wrap up this video. I feel like this vlog has taken me forever to do, which it has. It's been almost 2 months that I've been doing this video, I think, or maybe like a month and a half. I might be over exaggerating, but it feels like forever, and I've been really wanting to get this video out to you guys, but I have finally finished Milkteeth. And I'm going to give this one 3 stars. I think when I was telling you guys about it before, I had said that I was really enjoying it and I could see it maybe being like a 4-star book. But by the end, I felt like there were certain parts that had dragged on and made me a little bored in the story. And there was also a big reveal at the end, which I felt like was supposed to be shocking, and I didn't find it shocking at all. I thought it was pretty predictable, all things considered. But I also wanted to mention, I had made a note of it because I think in my last clip I said that our main character Beatrice was nursing 2 fledgling vampires and that they were children, and I'm not sure if I had said that in a way that made it seem like these vampires were actually children, because they're not. I think when they were turned they were much older. I know one was said that she was like in her 50s when she turned. They're just like fledgling vampires, so they act kind of childish and stuff, but I did want to clear that up. They're not actually like children. But overall, I thought like this book did a really good job of sort of talking about motherhood and obsession and what it means when someone like takes their job very seriously, because our main character Beatrice, she is someone who is going to do anything for these kids that she's taking care of. Even though she doesn't think of them as her kids, she still loves them and wants to take care of them and do her job to the best of her ability, and she's kind of obsessive over that. She will do whatever it takes, and even though these children all need different things from her, she still wants to be able to give them everything, and I just think it was a very interesting dynamic. This book also has our main character Beatrice's obsession with an actual doctor, and I thought that was very interesting. It's also like sapphic love undertones there, and I thought that was very interesting. I would have liked to see that explored a little more, because I feel like at some points we just don't even get them interacting, and like there is a plot to that I don't want to get into because I don't want to give any spoilers away, but I just feel like those moments were a bit off, I guess. But I did think it was very interesting the way this doctor was wanting to help Beatrice and help her change to be able to mother 3 kids instead of 2, and that whole thing was just very interesting. This book does have a lot of body horror. If you know me, I love a good body horror book, and I did love that in this story. Again, there's some parts at the end that I maybe would have liked to see explored a little more. I feel like for a horror book, there was a lot of build up at the beginning and then not a lot of payoff at the end, and this book is just over 300 pages, and I think this one maybe need to be a bit longer, maybe like 350 pages, somewhere around there, just so everything that happens at the end can get fleshed out a little more, explored a little more. I just feel like so much happened at the end that it didn't really come off as like a well-rounded story by the end. So I am giving this one 3 stars. I do think it is a solid book. If you are interested in this different take in vampires, I would definitely recommend it, but it's definitely not a new favorite. It definitely doesn't hold up to The Luminous Dead by this author. That is one of my all-time favorite horror books, and I just haven't found anything else by this author that hits the same way as The Luminous Dead. But that is okay. This one was still a solid read. But I am very happy with how this challenge went. So let me go through all the books I read. Let's talk about how I rated them. And I'm going to do this in order of how early they get published, just because that is how I have it written down, and so that's going to be easier for me. So The Last Time We Drowned by Saratoga Schaefer, this one releases June 2nd. I want to say that's going to be like a week or so from when I'm going to be posting this video, so very, very soon, and I gave this one 3.5 stars. It doesn't hold up to Tradwife by this author, which I gave 5 stars, but this is an author I will continue reading books by and checking out. They also recently announced another horror book that they're going to be releasing soon, and I'm really excited for that one. Die For Me by Shirlene Obuobi is one that comes out July 14th, and I gave this one 4 stars. Such a great twist on a paranormal romance. Really love this one. Plant Lady by Minyoung Kang comes out August 4th, and I also gave this one 4 stars. A very short thriller suspense novella. I always love a good book that's about female revenge, and this one did not disappoint. I Kissed Her First by Betty Cayouette. I always feel like I'm saying that author's name right. I probably am. I am so sorry if I am. But this one comes out August 25th, and this one was my favorite of the 5 books that I read. I gave this one 4.5 stars. This is a sapphic romance. Perfect for summer, by the way, but it does have some heavier moments about grief. But overall, I really love this book. And Milkteeth by Caitlin Starling. This one comes out August 20th. This is the last book that I read. We just talked about it. I gave it 3 stars. As far as a horror goes, I would have liked a little more, but still a solid take on a vampire story. Overall, my rating for these 5 books averaged to a 3.8, which is so good considering my reading overall for this year has been leaning towards like a 3.4. I'm just really glad that these books really worked for me. I think I've already mentioned it in this vlog, but I'm going to say it again because I don't remember if I said it or not, but last year I was really doing my best to try and read down all the NetGalley ARCs that I had, and I had made it a thing for myself that I can only request books that I'm very highly anticipating, that I think are going to be 5 stars only, and to not just request anything on NetGalley just because I can. And I think that's working out for me as far as these 5 books have gone. And yeah, I'm just really proud of that. And while I didn't get a 5-star from this video, I did get very close with I Kissed Her First. That was a 4.5 star, but I still am going to count that as a win. And speaking about NetGalley, because I've never actually done a video in the past year talking about it, but I have been approved for 203 NetGalley ARCs, and I have reviewed 194 of those, which I feel like those are just crazy numbers. But I only have 9 more on my NetGalley shelf that I need to read and review, and 4 of those are from 2026 this year. But 2 of them have already come out, 2 of them come out in August, I believe. They were just ones I didn't include in this video. But I feel like I'm making really good progress on those books, and I can definitely read 9 books in 2026. But I might do another video just to motivate me to really prioritize them. Definitely let me know in the comments if you'd like to see another video like this one. But yeah, I'm really proud of my progress, really happy with how this video went, and I hope you all also enjoyed watching this video, getting to see my thoughts on these books that aren't out yet, and maybe put some new books on your radar, because all of these books were really great. But thank you guys so much for watching this video and making it to the end. If you did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!